We were married for 3 years and never once touched. The moment I asked for a divorce, she pulled a knife on me. Chapter 1: A marriage without a touch. 3 years. That's how long we were married. And in those 3 years, I never touched her. People thought it was a joke at first. Friends laughed. Family members made awkward comments. Newlyweds shy. Ha! Take your time. But time passed. Months. Then a year. Then 2. And the truth became something no one could ignore. We lived like strangers. Same house. Same table. Sa's name. But nothing else. Her name was Lena. Beautiful. Cold. Distant. The kind of woman people admired from afar but never truly understood. I used to think I was the exception. The one she chose. The one she trusted. I was wrong. On our wedding night, she made it clear. "Don't touch me," she said calmly. "No longer. No hesitation. Just a statement." I thought she was nervous. Overwhelmed. So I respected her space. Her Jimmy. But Jimmy didn't say anything. If I tried to get closer, she would step back. If I spoke about our relationship, she would change the subject. If I asked why, she would simply say, "Not now. Eventually." I stopped asking, because living in uncertainty was easier than hearing something I might not be able to accept. But bon. I knew. This wasn't normal. This wasn't marriage. Hired. I stayed. Maybe it was love. Or maybe it was hope. The belief that one day she would choose me. That day never came. Instead, I started noticing things. Small things at first. Lucky nights. Phone calls she wouldn't answer around me. Messages she hid too quickly. The distance between us wasn't just emotional anymore. It felt intentional. One night, I came home earlier than usual. The house was quiet. Cowy. Then I heard her voice. Soft. Different. Coming from the living room. I stopped. Listening. "I told you, he doesn't matter," she said. A pause. Then, "I'm only with him because it's convenient." My chest tightened. "I'll handle the divorce when the time is right," she continued. "Just be patient." The words hit harder than anything before. Not anger. Not shouting. Just calm. Calculated. Like I was nothing. I stood there in silence. For a long time. Then I walked away. Quietly. Without making a sound. Because, in that moment, everything became clear. This wasn't a broken marriage. It was a lie. And I was the only one who didn't know. That night, I didn't confront her. I didn't argue. I didn't ask for explanations. I simply sat in the dark. Thinking. 3 years. 3 years of waiting. Of hoping. Of pretending. Oh. It was over. The next morning, I made my decision. At breakfast, I looked at her. Calm. Composed. Just like she always was. "I want a divorce," I said. For the first time in 3 years. Lena froze. Her eyes slowly lifted to meet mine. And something in them changed. sadness. Not regret, but something far more dangerous. What did you say? She asked quietly. I want a divorce, I repeated. The room fell silent. Heavy. Tense. Suddenly, she stopped, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. And before I could react, she reached into the drawer beside her and pulled out a knife. The blade glinted under the morning light. Her hand didn't shake. Her eyes didn't soften. Say that again, she whispered. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. I hadn't been living with a stranger. I had been living with someone who was never mine to begin with. Chapter 2. The Knife Between Us. The knife didn't tremble. Neither did her hand. For 3 years, Lena had been distant, cold, untouchable, but never like this. Never dangerous. Say it again, she repeated quietly. Her voice was calm. Toko. I looked at the blade. Sharp. Steady. Then back at her eyes. There was no panic in them. Confusion. Just control. I want a divorce, I said again. Clear. Firm. For a split second, something flickered across her face. Then it disappeared. You don't mean that, she replied. Not a question. A statement. Thou. Silence filled the room. Thick. Heavy. She took a step closer. The knife still raised slightly. Did you hear something? She asked. There it was. Straight to the point. I didn't answer immediately, because now there was no reason to hide it. Yes, I said. I heard everything. Her expression changed. Not guilt. Not fear. Annoyance. You weren't supposed to, she muttered under her breath. That was the moment I knew. There was no misunderstanding. No explanation that would fix this. 3 years, I said quietly. 3 years, Lena. I respected your space, your boundaries, your silence. And all this time, I paused. You were planning to leave anyway. She didn't deny it. Instead, she tilted her head slightly, studying me, like I was something unfamiliar. You're different today, she said. You finally stopped acting like a fool. I almost laughed. So that's what I was to you? I asked. A fool? She shrugged lightly. You stayed, didn't you? That answer hurt less than I expected, because I had already accepted it. I stayed because I believed in us, I said. You stayed because it was convenient, she replied. Again. Hesitation. No remorse. The knife lowered slightly, but it didn't disappear. You can't divorce me, she said. I frowned. And why is that? Her lips curved into a faint smile. Cold. Confident. Because you don't understand what you're involved in, she said. Something about her tone made my instinct scream. What does that mean? I asked. She stepped closer, close enough that I could see every detail in her eyes. This marriage, she whispered, was never about love. A chill ran down my spine. Then what was it about? She didn't answer directly. Instead, she asked something else. Do you really think someone like me? She gestured to herself slightly. would marry someone like you for no reason. The words were sharp, but the meaning behind them was worse. Before I could respond, a loud knock echoed from the front door. Both of us froze. Another knock. Stronger this time. Lena's expression changed instantly. For the first time, I saw something new in her eyes. Tension. "Stay here," she said quickly. But I didn't move, because something told me whatever was behind that door was the real reason behind everything. And whatever it was about to change everything. Chapter 3. The Truth at the Door. The knocking didn't stop. Each hit against the door was louder than the last. More urgent. More dangerous? Lena's grip on the knife tightened again. "Stay here," she said, her voice low, but this Jimmy. It wasn't a suggestion. It was a warning. I didn't listen. Instead, I stepped past her. "Don't," she started. "Tolachi." I reached the door, opened it. 3 men stood outside, dressed in dark suits, expressionless, cold. The one in front stepped forward slightly. "Mr. Armin?" he asked. I hesitated for a second. "Yes." His eyes shifted past me, looking inside, looking for someone. "Is your wife home?" he asked calmly. "Behind me." I felt it. A shift. Lena's presence. Still. Silent. Watching. "She is," I replied. "Why?" The man's expression didn't change, but his next words changed everything. "We're here to take her back." The R turned heavy. "Take her back." I repeated. "To where?" A brief pause. "Then, to where she belongs." Before I could react, Lena moved. Fast. She stepped beside me, the knife now hidden behind her back. Her expression had changed completely. Gone was the calm indifference. Gone was the cold arrogance. "How?" She looked serious. Focused. Dangerous. "You shouldn't have come here," she said quietly. The men didn't react. "You've been avoiding us for 3 years," the one in front replied. "It's time to stop running." "Running?" I turned toward her. "Lena, what is he talking about?" She didn't answer. Instead, she asked something else. "Did you tell him anything?" she said, her voice sharp. The man shook his head. "Then it doesn't matter," she said. My chest tightened. "What doesn't matter?" "Demanded." Finally. She looked at me. Really looked at me. And for the first time since I met her, there was something real in her eyes. Not love. Not warmth. But conflict. "You should go back inside," she said quietly. "I'm not going anywhere until you explain what's happening," I replied. Silence. Then the man in the suit spoke again. "You married her without knowing who she is." I froze. "What does that mean?" I asked slowly. He looked directly at me. "Your wife," sighed, "isn't just someone who married for convenience. A pausy. She's the heir to a very dangerous organization." My mind went blank. "What?" Lena closed her eyes for a brief moment, like she was tired of hiding it. "I told you," she said softly. "This marriage was never about love. The man continued. She ran away from her responsibilities 3 years ago. Oh! He took a step forward. We're here to bring her back. The tension exploded. Without warning, Lena moved again. The knife flashed into view. She stepped in front of me, between. Them. No, she said coldly. The men didn't flinch. You don't have a choice, one of them replied. Her grip tightened. I always have a choice. And suddenly, I understood something terrifying. The knife she pulled earlier was never meant for me. It was for them. Oh. I was standing right in the middle of something far bigger than I ever imagined. Chapter 4. The life she ran from. The air outside the door felt suffocating. No one moved. No one blinked. Lena stood in front of me, the knife steady in her hand. Not shaking. Not hesitating. For the first time, I realized something clearly. She wasn't scared of them. They were cautious of her. You're making this harder than it needs to be, the man in front said calmly. Put the knife down, Lena. Her lips curved slightly. Not a smile. Something colder. Or what? She asked. The tension snapped. The 2 men behind him stepped forward at the same time. Fast. Trained. But Lena was faster. In a single movement, she lunged forward. The knife flashed. One of them staggered back, his sleeve sliced open before he could even react. Everything happened in seconds. Stop, the lead man barked. But it was already too late. Lena stepped back, pulling me slightly behind her without even looking. Like it was instinct. Stay behind me, she said quietly. My heart was racing, my mind struggling to catch up. This wasn't normal. This wasn't the woman I had lived with for 3 years. Maybe it was, and I had just never seen it. You're still as reckless as ever, the man said, his tone now sharper. And you're still too slow, Lena replied. Silence fell again. This Jimmy. It was different. Heavy. Dangerous. Enough, the man said. We're not here to fight. Then leave, Lena answered instantly. You know we can't do that. I stepped forward slightly. Someone needs to explain what's going on, I said. For a moment, no Juan spoke. Then Lena sighed. A quiet, tired sound. Fine, she said. She lowered the knife slightly. Not completely. It's enough. I wasn't supposed to have a normal life, she began. Family isn't normal. I stayed silent, listening. They run an organization, she continued. Powerful, influential, dangerous. The man at the door nodded slightly, confirming her words. I was raised to take over, Lena said. Till it did. And you ran, I added quietly. Her eyes flickered. Yes. Why? That question lingered in the air. For the first time, she hesitated. Because I didn't want that life, she said softly. I didn't want to be surrounded by lies, control, and power games. I frowned. Then why marry me? That question hit harder. She looked at me. Really looked at me. And for the first time, there was no coldness, no arrogance, just honesty. Because you were normal, she said. The answer was simple, but it carried weight. I thought, if I stayed with you, I could live a normal life, too. My chest tightened slightly. But you never even tried, I said. Her expression darkened. Because I knew it wouldn't last, she replied. Silence. The man stepped forward again. This conversation is over, he said. You're coming with us. Lena raised the knife again. Oh! His eyes hardened. Then we'll take you by force. The moment those words left his mouth, everything changed. Because this wasn't just about her anymore. This was a fight. And whether I wanted it or not, I was already part of it. Chapter 5, The Choice Between Us. The tension snapped in an instant. The moment the man said, we'll take you by force, Lena moved. Fast. Decisive. She grabbed my arm and pulled me back. Run, she said. But I didn't move, because something inside me had already shifted. For 3 years, I had been standing still, waiting, hoping, accepting whatever she gave me. Not anymore. I'm not running, I said. Lena froze for a split second. Are you insane? She snapped. Maybe, I replied calmly. But I'm done being dragged around by things I don't understand. The men stepped closer. Slow. Controlled. Step aside, one of them said. This doesn't concern you. I let out a quiet breath. It does now. Lena's grip tightened on the knife. I could feel the tension in her hand. The hesitation. This wasn't what she planned. Not she all. Lena, I said softly. She didn't look at me. Is this really what you want? I continued. To keep running forever. Silence. The question lingered. Heavy. For the first time. She didn't have an immediate answer. Her hand trembled. Just slightly. I don't have a choice, she whispered. Yes, you do. That made her look at me. You always did, I said. You just didn't believe it. The men stopped moving. Watching. Waiting. Because even they understood. This moment mattered. You wanted a normal life. I continued. You chose me for that reason. Her eyes softened. Just a little. But you never really gave it a chance, I added. A long silence followed. Then, slowly, she lowered the knife. The men tensed instantly. Lena, one of them, warned. But she ignored them. Instead, she turned to me. If I stay, she said quietly, everything will follow me. I know, I replied. It won't be normal, she added. It never was, I said. That answer hit her harder than anything else. Because it was true. 3 years of distance. Of silence. Of lies. There was never anything normal about us. But this time, I continued. If you stay. I stepped closer. Then stay for real. Condition. Distance. Pretending. Just truth. Her eyes trembled. For the first time, I saw fear. Not of them, but of the choice. Then finally, she turned toward the men. I'm not going back, she said. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. The man in front sighed. You're making a mistake. Maybe, she replied. Then she took a step back, standing beside me. Not in front. Not protecting. Beside. Equal. The message was clear. The men looked at each other. Vakachius. This isn't over, one of them said. I know, Lena answered. And just like that, they left. The door closed. Silence filled the house again. The Schimi. It was different. Not cold. Not empty. Just quiet. I looked at her. So, I said lightly, still want to stop me from divorcing you? Forasikun. She didn't respond. Then, very slowly, a small smile appeared. Ask me again tomorrow, she said. I exhaled. Not a yes, not Anu, but for the first time in 3 years. It felt like a beginning, not of a perfect marriage, but of a real one.